Secretary call on Deputy Jim Daly to move for leave to introduce the bill.
Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. Can I just welcome the opportunity to introduce this bill to the House? Can I just, by way of introduction, Ceann Comhairle, point to the annual report of the Ombudsman for Children of this year, who outlined the appalling vista of a situation in a publicly state-funded school in this country, which refused to enrol a teenage girl because the girl was pregnant. And subsequently, after the same girl having her baby, she was again refused enrolment to the same school because she was a single mother. Now, this is a school that's funded by the taxpayer, and this is in the modern Ireland that we live in today, when we're supposed to be in a pluralist, inclusive society. Now, the Children's Ombudsman goes on to point out that when they investigated this case, because it was brought by the parent of the girl, that they looked to the school for notes and for records of this decision, and there were none. In actual fact, there was no board of management existed in this school. There was no patron in this school, which again is funded by the state. There was one individual running this school from start to finish. The reality is, if there are grievances for parents, or indeed for teachers, for decisions taken by the school board authority in this country, there is no avenue of appeal. It's an appalling vista in this day and age. And the Children's Ombudsman, while dutifully carrying out its investigation into it, was powerless to compel the school, other than to recommend to the department that this shouldn't be happening. But the department informed the Children's Ombudsman they too have no control or power or role or function over the actions taken by management of schools. Now, I can't understand how this is allowed to be the situation in this year of 2015. And the education sector is, we referred to earlier in this chamber, as the cornerstone of our society and the engine of economic growth, and all these wonderful terms that go with it. But when it's not accountable, when it's not transparent, and when people with grievances of decisions taken by the management authorities have no avenue. I mean, the reality in this country is if you get a parking ticket, Ceann Comhairle, you're entitled to appeal that decision to an independent superior authority. But there is no such avenue in the education system, and such is to our eternal shame that that's continued to exist.
It's clear to me that the concerns raised consistently by my office over the years in relation to the complaints architecture within education have not been heeded. Successive governments have failed to implement fully the provisions of Section 28 of that Act, which sets out how grievances and concerns of a student may be dealt with and remedied.
And it suits people to have a hands-off, closed shop, the board of management say and do what they like, and nobody can hold them to account. Because of the ethos of the school would not educate a single mother. Now, if that's not an indictment on all of us to have a publicly funded, state-funded educational establishment in Ireland in this modern day and age, hang our heads in shame. Your office doesn't have the powers that I believe somebody needs, and that is to direct that school to have an enrolment policy and to treat people in a natural, open and just way.
On the back of what Deputy Daly has said, and I would completely agree with everything he has outlined there, and the frustration, and I know that this is an issue that he has been trying to resolve over the last number of years, and he's been a very vocal advocate for extending the powers of not just the Ombudsman but also in his own bill which he published today.
The suggestion put forward by Deputy Daly in relation to the need for a Pacific Education Ombudsman is something I'd be interested in hearing your response to.
I just would like to say at the beginning that Deputy Daly, I'd just like to commend you on your very passionate contribution today. I would wholeheartedly agree.
Deputy Daly, there can be no doubt whatsoever as to your commitment, and as an educator and as one who managed a school yourself, it is particularly poignant that you brought this today, and the way you spoke. I couldn't support you more if I tried.
I am touched by the presentation that Deputy Daly has made here.
All of us have professional oversight bodies that look at our conduct. In teachers that hasn't happened, and that's a big drawback, that there isn't an element of an independent oversight in regards to professional conduct. I do think there needs to be recalibration between the autonomy of schools and the responsibility of the Department of the State in that regard. We can go to the Department of Education and tell them that they think there's been a failure here, but like that, they'll come back and tell us that they can't do anything about the Board of Management.
The amount of appreciation across the sector for the voluntary nature of boards of management and the time commitment and the dedication, from us as parents is enormous. It's when there is a bad apple in the bag of 100, that's the issue I'm getting at. Teachers are often victims as well, and teachers are victims of decisions taken by, and which has nothing to do with your office, but victims of boards of management and decisions taken by boards or bullied by other teachers.
And again, I support Deputy Daly on the notion of an educational ombudsman. And
that I think you were there as a cover, and I'm talking for the department, that you're a suitable cover, that if they have a grievance they can go to the Ombudsman for Children. But the reality is I don't think that that's working like I would like to see it in ideal, and that is no reflection on your office.